Today k.u.Leuven is honoring you for your research which increases agricultural productivity in sub-Saharan Africa and improves the quality of life in the countryside. For your consistent attention to capacity building in terms of agricultural research in the South, in the context of both university and multilateral cooperation. For your charismatic leadership, which has given IITA a significant boost and has enabled it to improve food security without compromising ecological integrity. For your vision and commitment to tackling youth unemployment in Africa and making entrepreneurship in the agricultural sector more appealing. For these reasons, I hereby bestow upon you, in my capacity as Rector of k.u.Leuven and on the recommendation of the Academic Council, the degree of Doctor Honoris Causa of our university. My congratulations.
Your Excellencies, the 5 rectors of universities here in Flanders and colleagues, the Rector has described what we've been doing at IITA and KU. So I'm not going to repeat that. I'm going to just give 3 examples to illustrate what we've been working on, and especially the most important constraint and challenge in Africa is about land degradation and soil fertility, which is really a problem for food and nutrition security. So the first example goes this way. 10 years after the genocide in Rwanda, in 2004, during that period in Rwanda, certainly there were no seeds, there were no scientists, and the farmers could not just exercise their duties. In 2004, that war was transferred to DRC, East DRC, and partly in Burundi. So desolation. I was then a scientist at TSBF, working with Roel Merks and Bernard Van Looy. And the Congolese, we were not supposed to go to Rwanda. And Rwanda were not supposed to come to DRC. And we're all starting about ways of building bridges between Rwanda, Burundi, and DRC. And one idea came into my head, and I said, well, probably we should, science could bring peace. And that coincided with the moment where the Belgian Corporation in 2003 made a call for a proposal for the Great Lakes. I presume they were thinking in the same way as we did. And with 3 universities here in Belgium, KU leading, and 3 international centers, among those IITA, SIAT, and Bioversity, and the national programs in those 3 countries. We applied and we got that grant, and we initiated a program called SIACA, which was a consortium for agricultural research in the Great Lakes. The achievement of that program was, first of all, in 2004, we were able to bring the scientists of all those 3 countries who were not supposed to travel, but for science, the 3 governments allowed us to travel and had a meeting basically in Bukavu. And that was the start of a long journey of research and development and capacity building in those 3 countries. This program, SIACA, has been on for almost 15 years, is working today. And one of the major impacts of that program is see Rwanda today, if you see the agricultural research in Rwanda, or even DRC in places where you couldn't even grow beans anymore because of the technologies that the 3 universities and the centers abroad. Today, we are happy. You can go to Rwanda, you can go to East Congo, and you see farmers. And we made an impact study that show for the last 15 years, we basically took 25% of people in that region out of poverty. The second example is a policy one. In 2000, Africa was at, I would call it a dangerous point in terms of thinking about its future, and especially about two different schools of thought about soil fertility. One school of thought was, yes, let's not imitate Asia or Europe with excess use of fertilizers. Let's go organic or low input. The second school of thought was our school of thought, k.u.leuven and IITA. And we were saying, no, African agriculture is not going to be different from any other agriculture. Fertilizer must be used. But we said, we can't go to that excess of Asia. Let's think. And we came with an approach which was called Balanced Nutrient Management System, which meant basically using half of the fertilizers dose and combining it with organic input. So you can use efficiently that fertilizer you had and protect, not degrade the soil. We succeeded. With that, we were very stubborn. And we succeeded because if the first approach was going to be adopted, my goodness, I don't know where Africa was going to be. And the way of succeeding, we work at the policy level. And in 2006, we organized a fertilizer forum, the first one in Africa, where 34 countries participated. And I remember President Obasanjo basically being the champion of that. And the policy came that on a continent, use of fertilizer was of strategic nature, but we had to combine it with organic input. That was a change, and today the use of fertilizers, so you see subsidies on fertilizer, every country wants to use it, but in a measured way. That was a product of the kind of research we had done. My last point will be about the future of agriculture in Africa. President Obasanjo usually tells me that when he goes in this village, the youngest farmer he met in his village is his younger brother. President Obasanjo is 92 years old. So the younger farmer in his village is 73 years old. So trying to imagine, and we have the young people in Africa who are not interested at all in agriculture. So we have a gap of 30 years. And again, we should try to see the consequences of that on the future of Africa. It's horrible. And therefore, in 2012, sitting at the gate of IITA, I saw a fight between 500 young people with the security. And they were all wanted to come into IITA to look for a job of casual workers, painting, weeding in cassava field and all kind of things. They were fighting. And I went there to ask, trying to calm the situation. That's the time I realized that all those young people, 500 of them, were graduate. And not graduating only in agriculture, graduating in physics, mass communication, lawyer, doctors, historians, all looking for a job because of an unemployment rate. And this at the time I decided to start the program which the Rector has described of the agripreneur, agriculture and enterprises, where we were trying to say the future of agriculture is not only penuries and poverty, but it could be business, it could be value chain, it could be logistics, and basically the food industry could be a venue for the future of Africa. So we started that program, and I'm glad that 24 countries, the government, and some banks have basically adopted that program, and it's going on. There are a lot of research aspects to each which we have to tackle, but it's going on and is moved in that sense. I think with those three examples, I would like probably to end my speech by, first of all, thanking Roel Merks for, he called me my brother, I call him my brother too. For 30 years working with him tirelessly. The number of scientists and the researchers that we've trained is really quite tremendous and so on. So I want to dedicate this honor that you've given me, because in 2 years' time we are going to retire. And well, we can't retire with all this knowledge. Basically, this honor should be a motivation for all the young scientists who train here, and for those who are going to come to continue this fight in Africa, because if we don't combat farming through better soil fertility management in Africa, we are going to be doomed. Thank you very much.